What's up, everybody? This is Biaman, and I have a special commentary for you guys. I know a lot of you have watched my Southeast Asian Dota 1 content. Well, finally, I can bring you some relatively unique Southeast Asian Dota 2 content. This is from the Litany League. If you do not know the Litany, it's basically a small league taking place in the Southeast Asian region. It's a Dota 2 league, and the prize is in keys, treasure keys that often Steam trades are going for. And although it might not be the most prominent prize or the prominent league, it's a relatively healthy amount of keys. It's decent money, and I think it's supposed to be regular content. And mostly it's just a chance for Southeast Asian Dota 2 teams to participate in a league environment and just really practice Dota 2, because a lot of great Dota 2 tournaments are coming up soon, whether it be the Ghost Cup Asia, GEST Dota 2. I know Beyond Sun will probably put on more Southeast Asian Dota 2 content, and I'm sure one of these Southeast Asian Dota 2 teams will like to get to the International too. So a lot of really strong teams actually signed up for this tournament from the Dota 1 section and the Dota 2 section. I think Orange, MSI Evo GT, Pacific Emax, First Departure, a lot of really strong teams actually signed up for this. So it's a pretty competitive league, and yeah, thanks to Litany League, and thanks to the U Heavy, or the heavy arm storage thing that is in this logo right now. Unfortunately, since I don't have dual monitors, I can't really say that, but you can read it yourselves. I just had a momentary brain lapse, but I'm not going to restart the commentary just because of that minor brain lapse. But yeah, the owner or the administrator of the league was kind enough to let me broadcast some of these replays, and this is a matchup between First Departure from Singapore and Loya.net Esports. Now, First Departure, if you've been following Southeast Asian Dota 2 at all, from Beyond the Summit, from Gods before, and just from the Gosu Cups, GESTs, in the Dota 2 sections, First Departure is a really strong Dota 2 team in Southeast Asian regions. They're not on the level of Zenith or Orange or anything like that, but they're just on the outside looking in. I think they've gotten second or third in a couple of the Gosu Cups. Overall, they've been looking quite strong. Unfortunately, I am not too familiar with Loya.net Esports. Uh, Unfortunate for me, because I'm sure they're quite a strong team. They are from Malaysia. That's pretty much all I know about them. But yeah, it should be an interesting game. Keep in mind that this is Southeast Asian Dota 2. This isn't really Pinoy Dota 2. Although Filipino teams are definitely able to invite or participate in the league themselves, I'm quite sure. So yeah, should be overall a good time. I don't expect double curring or anything like that, but typical Southeast Asian picks for the most part. As we're going to see Rubik as well as TA being picked up First Departure, we're not seeing nearly as much TA in the Western scene, because TA does need a lot of mana. If she gets shut down in the early game, she does have a difficult time of starting getting back in the game, but TA in a very up-tempo, frenetic style of play, very, very powerful. And if you have ever watched the Southeast Asian Dota 1 or Dota 2 commentary, you know they love to run Trilines versus Trilines rather than Trilines versus solo. They like to have two solos match up against each other, and their off lane, or for the Dire, the safe lane, and the Radiant off lane, and then just do Trilane in the Radiant safe lane against another Trilane. So in terms of Trilane versus Trilane, we're going to see a Visage pickup, who is definitely the supreme commander, just does so much damage, has a lot of move speed, a lot of attack speed with the Grave Chill, relatively tanky, really good range, a lot of damage to Soul Assumption, overall a very powerful hero. So we'll see what Loya.net Esports decides to do about this. They could try to contest this. They could try to just put their solo offlane up against the Trilane of First Departure, because First Departure most assuredly are going to be running an aggressive Trilane, because they broadcasted their choice of the Visage. And just something interesting to note is that even though in Dota 1 we do see often Trilane versus Trilane, we don't see nearly as much Visage. We don't see Visage quite so much. And when I say quite so much, I mean practically ever. But he has really been trending up. Also in the Western scene, of course, Team Liquid places very high value on Visage. I know Dignitas have been experimenting with him heavily and have been having quite strong results. And Loya.net going to pick up the Queen of Pain. Of course, keep in mind Southeast Asians are on the Queen of Pain bandwagon before anybody else. So we'll see if there's anything like a Dragonite ban. I don't know if this is sort of the crazy Southeast Asian Filipino games where you see double couriers with Dragonites placing very high priority on Puck, Dragonite, Skyath Mage, of course Skyath Mage not in Dota 2. But this is a Southeast Asian game. I'm sure First Departure sort of played more like Orange and Zenith rather than sort of the crazy MSI Evo GT squads that we see so often. But First Departure, definitely a strong team. Have placed very highly in a couple of the Ghost Cups, and probably anticipate them doing rather well in the GEST that is coming up very, very soon. But right now, Loya.net Esports going to bat the Darkseer, knowing that First Departure probably want a safe lane solo that can do quite well, and Darkseer very strong in team fights, of course, surging into TA with an Iron Shell. Very, very scary, surging in a Visage with the chasing power with soul assumptions every 4 seconds. Very scary, so I imagine this Darkseer not only for the vacuum control, but also Surge. And it's always an interesting thing to me where Surge is probably the least important spell on a hero like Darkseer, just because all his other spells are so insanely strong. But Surge in this game would just be very, very powerful for chasing heroes like TA. Meanwhile, Rubik, if he managed to steal something like a reverse Sonic Wave, he will definitely turn the team fight around in favor of his team. And we're going to see First Departure, interesting enough, ban out the Tinker. Disruptor is a relatively uncommon pickup in the Southeast Asian Dota 1 scene. Unfortunately, I'm not nearly as well acquainted in the Southeast Asian Dota 2 scene. But yeah, hopefully this is a good opportunity for me to learn. And Loya.net, recognizing the First Departure, want a carry. I'm not too sure if Anti-Mage is the best aggressive trialing carry. So I'm not too sure if this is the best ban by Loya.net, but maybe they just really hate playing against Anti-Mage. Maybe they don't really have a good lineup that can counter him, whether it be the split push from Anti-Mage coming in, or whether it be somebody who can lock him down in place. And right now, the only stun they have is the Magnus RP. So Anti-Mage, even if he does not do that well in offensive Trion versus Trion scenarios, if he does manage to get going, he will be very difficult to stop by Loya.net current lineup. And this might also indicate that Loya.net might not pick into too many stuns, because Anti-Mage, again, doesn't fare too well in aggressive Trions, and First Departure, probably with an 80% percentage that I am right, that they are going to run in aggressive Trion, just because of that Visage pickup. And Loya.net going to ban out the Brewmaster as well, so they want a matchup that they can succeed in with their Queen of Pain. Unfortunately, they didn't ban anything like the Puck, and now Puck doesn't really beat Queen of Pain, but does do quite well against Queen of Pain. And if he manages to get a fast blink dagger, the silence could give Queen of Pain nightmares. And First Departure going to pick up Bounty Hunter, so they want to play very aggressive, really try to gank as much as possible with the track. And this is why we wanted to see Southeast Asian Dota 2, so I can see crazy aggression, a lot of kills, and hopefully you won't be too disappointed. Meanwhile, Loya.net securing their challenge, going to pick up the Xiaodun. Southeast Asians always considered Xiaodun a very strong pickup, even before Xiaodun sort of faded out for a bit, and now he's resurged in a very large part because of his recent success in the Western scene. So Loya.net, all they need is their safe lane carry. That could probably function quite well against the Trion, unless they put Magnus in the safe lane and do an aggressive Trion on their own part. And First Departure going to pick up Leicester. Leicester, a pretty solid aggressive Trion carry, has that slow, has the rage to tank through spells. And Loya.net going to pick up the Faceless Void. So I do not know if this is the best Trion versus Trion carry, just because he doesn't really contribute too much other than a slow and some pretty solid damage. But they could potentially run aggressive Trion up against a safe lane Bounty Hunter. Or they could just play very defensive, just stay far back, hopefully the Trion won't get too many kills. If the Trion doesn't get too many kills, Visage definitely falls off. He's definitely one of the supports who snowballs. And if Bounty Hunter loses lane against Magnus or anything like that, First Departure could potentially lose a lot of their killing power. And against the Void, there's not really too much that First Departure has that can deal with him in the late game. I mean, especially with an RP and a Chrono, there's really no way that First Departure can sort of match up against Loya.net in team fights, even if Void doesn't manage to get too much damage in the early stages of the game. So we'll introduce the players and teams, as I forgot to turn off direct camera once again. We're going to have Wixor playing the Queen of Pain, Jay Noah is playing the Magnus Genic side, is playing the Keeper of the Light, Ichigo is playing the Faceless Void, and Flem is playing the Xiaodun. Meanwhile, inside of First Departure, oh god, this guy is playing the Rubik. This is what we waiting, is going to be playing the Visage. This guy is going to be playing the Bounty Hunter. Love is playing the Templar Assassin, and this guy is playing Lifestealer. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention, shouts to ELG, or the Esports Gaming League broadcast team. Pretty generic title, but they put on pretty nice commentary with this league, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure it was very well received. It was very funny, I think, for the most part. Unfortunately, I couldn't really listen to it. But from the most part, from what I've had people telling me, it was very funny, very enjoyable to listen to. And they were the primary streamers of this tournament, so definitely check out Alternative VODs brought to you by ELG League. Of course, if you want to sort of find them, just Google search Litany League, where you can see right here. It's times like this which I really had a dual monitor. But it is going to be Void in a defensive tone. There's going to be Disruption. Unfortunately, doesn't chain with the key for the Light Blast. As here comes Leicester back in. Probably won't cast Slow. Actually, will cast Slow. They want Visage to go in. He does have Soul Assumption, and Flem is going to end up dying towards the first blood. As it's interesting to see Void in a Trine versus Trine scenario. I imagine he won't do too well. But the one thing that is fortunate for Loya is that already a decent amount of mana has been burned. I was going to see Visage actually just block off the creep spawn for quite a bit. Not too sure if he's going to play Sword, but this also will ensure Nyx, the Leicester, will get a decent amount of experience right off the bat. As I imagine, they're just going to wait for the 30-minute or 30-second mark and then move back into the lane. As yes, we do, so this camp was blocked off. As we'll see if any reactionary centaurs are going to be bought by the side of Loyat. Keep in mind, Loyat is from Malaysia, and First Departure is a pretty well-known team from Singapore. As Ichigo is going to be farming against this Leicester. So far, the supports are not really too keen in sort of draining too much experience on Leicester. Leicester, pretty experienced depend carry, who does get going in mid-game, as we see Flem gonna just explode into a giant ball, or giant burst of tiny little pieces. But yeah, Leicester, very strong mid-game carry, but he really wants experience, as well as a good amount of farm in order to really get going. And in comparison to Void, who really just doesn't do too much in the early game, other than provide a Chronosphere, Leicester does put out a lot more damage at the cost of less items. But if he doesn't get too much experience, he will fall in comparison to the Void, who, with equal amount of experience, the Chronosphere will become a lot more powerful. So far, First Departure putting on a decent start, 2-0, as we can analyze the middle lane matchup. TA versus Queen of Pain. It varies from player to player. I know some Queen Pains hate this matchup because the damage by TA is just too good, and some TAs hate this matchup because Shadow Strike does do a nice job in terms of draining Refraction, as well as the Queen of Pain increased range will give Templar Assassin a lot of troubles. But for the most part, from what I've seen, TA more often than not does do a bit better in terms of last hits, while Queen of Pain has a lot more easy access in terms of controlling the runes. So it's really overall a 50-50 matchup again. Mostly comes down to player skill. As you can see, so far it looks relatively even. TA seems to have a slight edge. As it does fly in, Rubik is going to take a lot of damage. Rubik might end up dying, but nice telekinesis going to lift him backwards. Open wound slowing down Ichigo as he is going to be refilled all his mana, but unfortunately Leicester are very low in terms of HP. Rubik very low in terms of HP as well. No salve. He might just end up suiciding after he places this Sentry Ward to the creeps. No, he's going to walk all back to the base. I think if I was Rubik, I'd just buy a lot of items, then suicide to neutrals, EE style. Or maybe he's just going to stack the Ancients first. That would be a smart move as well. But as it is, Leicester will have to pop his salve right now in order to stay in lane. As you can see, Void 9 CS, so definitely not having too bad of a time, despite against this very, very difficult challenge scenario. But Shouty and Kieverlight, definitely strong kills in the Trine in their own rights. Meanwhile, Bounty Hunter versus Magnus. Bounty Hunter will have the potential to do a lot more harassment, as Leicester is going to get engaged upon once again, but the Grave Chill being popped gonna really slow down the assault by Void, as the salve unfortunately was cancelled for the Lifestealer, so he might have to wait for Rubik to give him a salve. Visage I do not think has a salve, only has a Tango, so Lifestealer will have to get all the way back to the base, so I guess the increased spammability of the lower mana cost spells like Illuminate and Shadow Poison just going to give this other Trine, even though it does have Visage, a lot more trouble, because Visage Nuke very, very strong, but does have very high mana cost, and Lifesteal Rage really doesn't get too strong until sort of the max level, where it's a 6-second rage. At this point, it's only about 1 to 2 seconds of rage. Or 3 seconds. Learn to count, B-Ball, God. Rubik is going to take this time to get a bit of experience, and Leicester going to go all the way back to base. But Magnus versus Bounty Hunter, I imagine Magnus should win this lane. He has an AoE nuke, Bounty Hunter only has last hits. Bounty Hunter doesn't really have a reliable form burst damage, Bounty Hunter has a little mana pool. Bounty Hunter just overall does not have a good time in this matchup, as we're going to see another kill on the bottom lane. As I was talking about these other lanes, but all the actions happening on this bottom lane, as a nice bash, perfectly calculated. Void might be able to pick up the kill. One more hit, Keeper Light does clean up the kill, as Rubik is going to get bashed once again. Ichigo, too good with these bashes. Unfortunately, Rubik will pick up the kill, as Visage gonna teleport back in the lane, does whiff, and Visage will end up picking up a kill, as it's gonna be a 2-for-2 engagement overall. Or 2-for-1 engagement. I think only Lifesteal died on the side of first departure. No, 2-for-2. As Visage died at the very beginning, then teleported back in. And you can see Visage taking significant amount of damage from the tower. It kept up the chase on the shouting. Here comes Ichigo back into the battle. Grave Chill gonna be popped. Might allow Visage to escape. Will allow Visage to escape. The level 1 time lock, pretty long cooldown. But unfortunately for the side of the Dire, even though they're getting more kills, the Lifesteal is really not having too good of a time. And again, Lifesteal does want a lot of experience. Once again, max level Rage, max level Feast, couple points in open wounds, and he's gonna actually retreat to the jungle, saying, "Screw this trial lane, I'm going home." But meanwhile, Magnus versus Bounty Hunter. Magnus is just gonna bottle Courier whenever it's possible. Again, Queen of Pain should have better access to the runes, as I have not seen TA in a minute. She went all the way back to base, as we're seeing a lot of movement back to the base so far in this game. As Tay will teleport back in, Queen of Pain should have the rune control advantage, and that will allow Magnus to potentially bottle Courier if he really finds it necessary. But so far, despite the trialing on the bottom lane getting a lot of kills, they're just going to ban the Void for the most part and going to switch up the lanes. Not too sure if it's the best idea, as Visage is going to teleport back in, but now it's a dual lane. The fortunate thing is that Visage will have level 3 Soul Assumption up very, very soon. But Keeper Light just going to place some wards, counter ward. The Dire Ward is going to spot out the movement by the Keeper Light, as we're going to see an attempted gank by Templar Assassin relatively soon. And Void, despite his early troubles, despite having 1 death, 25 CS is outfiring the Lifesteal by a decent amount, as there's going to be a rotation in by the Dire supports as well as the TA trying to find Ichigo. But unfortunately, Ichigo will just hide himself into the shadows and will escape very easily, as we're going to see a rotation in by the Lifesteal very, very soon. Has level 1 of open wounds. Level 1 might be all you need, but Magnus, just barely short of the mana for a reverse, so this could be disastrous for the Dire, as he's going to pop the Arcane Boots. We'll have access to the reverse. Bounty Hunter staying the heck back, as even though the track was popped, I think Bounty Hunter knew that the Magnus had reverse, was very low HP, didn't really want to engage. So I guess now that Bounty Hunter is level 6, he's going to start his roam helping out TA. But so far, even though it's 5-2, I feel like Loyat is not in too bad of a shape. They have not lost any tires. Void's getting respectable farm. And TA is unable to get any kills. And TA really wants to snowball out of control, otherwise she'll have a very difficult timing, especially against heroes like Magnus and Void and Queen of Pain even. Heroes who are mobile, heroes who can lock her in place, and heroes that she can't really gank too successfully because they all have decent escape mechanisms. So we're just going to keep watching out the farm, and look at this. Again, 5 kills being picked up, or 4 kills being picked up by this Charm, but Visage and the Rubik staying very far back. Visage is going to be close to level 6. He's hiding himself into the shadows. He's going to reveal himself, going to take an Illuminate right to the chin. As it's going to be wrapped around gank by the Bounty Hunter. They are going to use the trap. The trap is sprung for the Keeper of the Light. Void will get tracked, but they don't want to dive in. Shadow Demon is in place, and they're venturing dangerously close to tower range, where Magnus could potentially TP in and drop an RP that will just completely ruin the days of the Dire. And all the while, Queen of Pain and Magnus are farming up. Lifesteal is farming up, but he's getting significant less gold in the jungle compared to the lane. So despite it being 5-2, I think Radiant might have an advantage, which is very odd to say, but still, it feels like Radiant are playing a bit more composed. Meanwhile, I think Dire got outpicked. They went for a very heavy ganking lineup, and it still has potential to work out, because it is only 8.5 minutes into the game. But yeah, Dire went for a very aggressive ganking lineup, and so far, they are unable to do that. Just nice swords by the Radiant, nice movement by the Radiant, and Shadow Demon with a threat of a Magnus teleport just is enough to dissuade anybody. As we're going to see the first pause of our game, take this time to look at the gold graph ever so slightly in favor of the Radiant, and experience graph ever so slightly in favor of the Dire. They do have a jungler in the form of the Lifestealer, as we're going to see the levels Magnus and TA, both the layers are going to see reconnect in by the TA. Checking out the net worth, Magnus highest net worth in the game. How close is he to his dagger? Quite far away still, but is forming up very, very quickly. And this is one of the best ways you can deal with the bounty hunter. Just stay very cautious. He doesn't like to farm. He likes to get kills from his ganks. He likes to help his supports out quite a bit. So just stay far back, protect your carry, and bounty hunter can't really do too much. As Magnus is going to pressure this tower back quite a bit. Leicester is finally level 6, using Manifest for a bit more HP as well as CS capabilities, as the burst damage is going to fly in. Illuminate going to clear up the creep wave very, very fast. And the Fable going to fly in, but unfortunately not the highest level Fable. Won't really deter this Void all too much, as Magnus is going to retreat back to the safety of his tower, saying he is very, very scared. But again, the mobility on the side of the Radiant just very, very strong in this game. Very difficult for the Dire to actually dive them. And with the TA, one of the best things you can do is dive. But unfortunately, she has not found an opening. Checking out the last hits, Leicester 39 CS, but a lot of that was jungle creeps. Meanwhile, Void picked up the strength shreds. Probably won't go for a Battle Fury. It would be a very light Battle Fury. I'm sure he's going to go for a bit more of a team fight item. Actually, even Battle Fury might not be the worst idea, because he has Magnus and Queen of Pain to hold the gap for the mid game while he gets a farm, considering that the Dire have not yet pushed a tower. As we're going to see the familiars back into the picture, or being summoned for the first time. TA does pick up a DD rune. This could be the sign that the Dire was waiting for. No Radiant where it's going to scout out, but Ichigo already on the retreat. And Radiant playing so scared, but this is the right way to play it, as Keep the Light going to channel that blast. TA is going to get disrupted. The illusions will be in the picture as the familiar is going to fly overhead. But again, the Dire do not want to dive. Magnus and Queen of Pain, both with TP scrolls. And they're just going to farm up while the Dire just sort of run around. This is just really smart play by the Radiant. Not going to overcommit. And while the Dire try to take these engagements, again, you can't really sort of take 2v3 engagements with a Void on your side, with the Chrono, with the Shouty, and with that disruption, as Magnus is going to escape by the skin of his teeth and meld just a bit too late. And if you take 3v3 engagements, then Magnus or Queen of Pain could just teleport in and make your life a complete hell, as the familiar is going to get bashed. These bashes by the Void so strong, as Visage is going to initiate with the Grave Chill. He is going to cast a Shadow Poison. Here comes Stun by the familiar, going to lift himself up into the air, but the Illuminate is going to whiff onto the Visage, but Visage is going to end up dying. Queen of Pain does secure the kill in the background. Meanwhile, bashes galore by this Void, actually maxed bash by level 7. And he is definitely appreciating that extra chance of the bash, because he is getting more bashes than I've ever seen possible without an attack speed item increase other than the treads. It's going to be a tower trade, but keep in mind, the Dire gave up 2 kills and they got no kills in return, and it's just going to be an overall tower exchange, and Magnus going to reveal himself saying, what are you going to do about this tower push? We have Magnus with RP. But I guess we're not going to play too greedy. They're just going to back off, get Void a bit of items. He's going to finish the Perseverance. Again, he has the Queen of Pain and the Magnus to rely back on in the mid game. So he can sort of play a bit greedy, get the Battle Fury, try to go for a lot more farm. Because his farm is pretty slowed, 50 CS by 12.5 minutes against an aggressive Trillion. Not the best CS, but still, he was against an aggressive Trillion for the most part. Meanwhile, TA has literally done nothing this game, 0-0, just been farming up, and it's not really the fault of the player. Again, it's just the Radiant playing very smart, and TA unable to really make anything happen. So this really aggressive ganking lineup, a first departure, running into a lot of problems against a team fight, and the sort of safety picks by the Radiant Shadow, even Keep It Light, so hard to initiate into them. Magnus, Queen of Pain, when they have TP scrolls, they can just get into the battle very, very quickly, and Void can escape, can drop the Chrono, wait for reinforcements. How are you supposed to engage this lineup? As you can't even try to focus and try to get 1 kills, because Magnus will skewer away, Queen of Pain will blink away, and if a support is caught out, because, well, that's just not going to happen, because these supports are never caught out, they're always together. They're always just hugging. They are best friends forever. But Queen of Pain gonna continue to farm. What is she gonna go for? Not revealing her item choice just yet. Anything on the cur? It is gonna be a mechanism, probably for the Keep for Light relatively soon. Actually, Shadow Demon getting significant amount of parts. Keep for Light will finish most of the mechanism, only about 850 gold from finishing that mechanism. Meanwhile, on the side of the Dire, do they have any components of the mechanism? They have almost a complete armlet on the side of the Lifestealer. Meanwhile, T8 gonna go for that dagger, I imagine. She's getting very, very close. Bounty Hunter, not too much farm. 24 CS again. Bounty Hunter, you don't want to farm, you want to gank. Visage trying to go for an urn, but he's quite far away. Rubik only with the arcane boots. So if the Radiant manage to get themselves a fast mechanism, they could potentially push down multiple towers, because there's no indication that the Dire will go for a mechanism at all in this game at this pace. I'm sure eventually they do want to get a mech up, but still, it's going to be very, very late into the game before that happens. As again, the best way to deal with this ganking lineup is just to play 5-man Dota.
Dire's structures are fortified.
As Refraction is going to be used by the TA, the tower is going to get shit to death by the Queen of Pain spheres, as well as a Magnus bashing down the front, but Magnus does get the last hit. I thought Rubik almost got the 9. Magnus does get the dagger as well. As the illusion was disrupted, Queen of Pain going to immediately just dispel the illusions altogether. And meanwhile, Void just going to farm up. He's getting pretty close to his battlefield as Armlet is finished by the Lifestealer. And I think, first departure, they might just have to try to bulldoze their way down the middle lane once they pick up a mechanism. If they ever can pick up a mechanism, which is looking very, very unlikely. It's very difficult for them to engage the Radiant Squad in ganks because they're always together, they have high mobility. So the best way is just try to force the issue, try to go for a team fight, but it's so risky against a Magnus and a Keeper for the Light, and a Void. So it's just really, really puzzling to try to figure out what the Dire can actually do. I think the Dire would be in better shape if they picked up a different trial in here, but Lifestealer just needs too many levels. And that's why when we see Lifestealer in trial situations, they're always in the safe lane, so the swords can roam, get Lifestealer as much farm as possible, or if Lifestealer is in a trial versus trial scenario, he gets a fast minus to help boost his experience as a trap is popped. The Familiar is constantly scouting out the Radiant, but a nice Blink Dagger reverse by the Magnus. Sonic Wave is going to be in the picture, constantly canceling it. Will manage to get it off. Nyx is going to channel TP, but the Chrono was dropped just to pick off the Nyx, and unfortunately Lifestealer won't be stealing lives for a decent amount of time, for at least 40 seconds. And meanwhile, Templar Assassin can only blink away, witnessing the horror of the decimation on the side of the Dire. She can only watch in agony. That was deep. But TA is going to pick up Invisor, so all is right in the world now. Oh man, first departure. And this just might be an indication that even though first departure had been placing well, maybe it's just because the other teams have not been entering. I've not really switched in Dota 2. Again, I've never heard of Lawyer.net esports. But maybe they were playing Dota 1 all this time, maybe they finally switched in Dota 2, maybe they've just been boot camping for a while, but they are looking quite strong. And first departure might have just been getting used to one playing style, as Magnus is going to skewer the TA backward. The Blink Dagger is constantly being cancelled. Disruption is going to go down, as it might actually end up helping the TA. Soul Catcher with the Illuminate is going to fly, and TA taking too much damage. Shadow Poison and Shockwave going to clean up the kill, as Queen of Pain going to blink forward aggressively. Will be able to pick up the Visage with one more blink. Queen of Pain going to bottle up. Visage going to get another Grave Chill, but unfortunately Queen of Pain is on the assault. And the Familiars can only run, unable to avenge the master. Lifestealer starts trying to farm up, but his tower is going to get pressured. There's really not too much that first departure can do to defend this. They don't really have any good creep clearing abilities other than Fade Bolt. Man, first departure, looks like they got outpicked so hard. As I don't even know. I mean, the team fight on the side of Radiant is good, but just the lineup, if the lineup on the Dire don't gank, they're pretty much useless for the most part. As Lifestealer going to try to escape, Keeper is in position, will cast the Blind Light. Unfortunately, doesn't push the Lifestealer back, as Lifestealer will Rage Teleport out of there again. Nothing on the side of the Radiant cancels that BKB Teleport or the Rage Teleport other than the Chrono. But still, there's a couple mechanisms, or the RP. And actually, Lifestealer might not even have been the best carry pickup, because there's RP, there's Purge, there's Chrono. And there's a lot of kiting on the side of the Radiant. As what place did it pick up the Leicester? I can't even remember for the life of me. I think they picked him up very, very late into the draft as Leicester is going to initiate onto the Magnus. Magnus poked his head out quite far back, going to screw away. We'll have the dagger up, but just going to teleport out to safety. We'll be A-okay. You know, TA trying to do whatever she can. Very far away from her next time. Checking out the goal graph. Huge favor in favor of the Radiant. Almost 7k experience advantage. Or almost 7k goal advantage. 5k experience advantage. As this is very different from the Southeast Asian Dota that I've been watching. It's just a completely different mix from Southeast Asian Dota 1 to Southeast Asian Dota 2, apparently. But unfortunately, Dire not in too good position. A couple of things that Dire can do is try to go for smoke ganks, try to catch off people in the jungle, maybe try to catch off the supports while they ward up. Smoke ganks probably the best way to go about this again. They have a lot of mobility, they have a lot of chasing power. Another thing they could do is use the TA, get farm, try to go for an early Roshan, try to dewar the Roshan, use the TA meld, try to burst down the Roshan ASAP, then try to bulldoze their way to victory if they manage to get themselves a mechanism. There's definitely options in place for Dire to make a comeback, but the question is, will they realize these options? As it's one thing to be commentating a game, but it's another thing entirely just to play the game, make these decisions. As we have vision of all over the map, we know exactly what items are in place. We know where the movements, we know where the wards are. But the Dire, for the most part, probably don't. They know probably what items the Radiant have once they reveal themselves, but they most likely don't know where the wards are. They don't know how much gold the Radiant has in the bank. As Magnus is going to go for the Force Staff, give himself a little bit more mobility to kite around the Leicester even more. Man, Leicester was just not a good carry choice in this game. They just completely picked around him, as is going to be a nice rage dodge of the Shadow Strike, as well as avoiding the Skewer. But these familiars essentially being free gold for the Queen of Pain, as she is going to go for that Hex. She's well on her way. Void, on the other hand, has finished the Battle Fury, so now his farm can start accelerating. And Void with the Battle Fury with Empower, all he needs is attack speed, and once he gets that, which he already has with the Mask of Madness and the Deity Rune, I don't know if the Dire can actually defend this tier 2, as they might just be forced to give it up without a fight, but they are still remaining near it. It would probably be better for them to try to split push it up, but still, again, the mobility on the side rate means that it's very difficult to sort of split push. As long as there is a tower close by, as Leicester going to pick up a dagger, going to try to give him some form of initiation as well as some form of sort of chasing, give him some chasing power, as well as initiation, as well as not getting kited. As TA is going to pop the meld, nice disruption by the Shouting. Purge is going to go on to the TA. Mechanism is pop. Keeper Light going to run right back towards the TA, as TA is going to take so much damage. Purge is going to pop out. The Sonic Wave actually whiffs, but the Unate is going to pick up a kill. Meanwhile, Void in the background does manage to pick up a kill on the bot lane against the Leicester. Use a Chrono to once again disrupt the teleport. Here comes an RP by the Magnetar, going to pick up 2 heroes, Visage, and the Rubik never stood a chance. Our Rubik, unfortunately, not able to steal any spells in this game, as I think Gondar managed to get a track kill on the Shoudian. But if it's going to be a complete one-side victory in favor of the Radiant, that track kill not even worth it, as Bounty Iron will escape. It's going to be a 4-for-1 for a track kill. And Void gonna have his ultimate cooling down again. Probably use his Chronos here to disrupt the Lifesteal from teleporting back in. Maybe if Lifesteal was in that fray, it would have gotten a lot different, but Void, nice awareness, gonna constantly be on the Lifesteal's ass. Never let him be happy in this game. And Void's just gonna easily time walk, teleport, blink forward by the Lifestealer. He's just gonna get recalled by the Keeper of the Light. And Leicester is just left all by and lonesome for quite a bit. Gold graph, experience graph, very high. Very big difference. As first departure, Now at this point, I'm not too sure what they can do because Void is actually starting to become a huge problem. Can easily solo the Lifestealer. And if you add to the fact that there's an RP, there's a Purge, there's very difficult to kill heroes. And a smoke attempt trying to catch out, trying to claim this last tier 2, and then go for Roshan, I imagine, for the Radiant. Tia on the other hand, not revealing what she's going to go for, only with that Blink Dagger. She has been farming a lot, but unable to make too much happen as Kunipane is going to initiate. Here comes the Blink forward, skewer backwards onto the TA. She's going to get poisoned, purged, and pwned. The triple P combination. As nobody says pwned anymore, but I was just trying to find an appropriate alliteration to describe TA's impending death. As Ichigo easily able to solo up the Visage. As I finally run. Oh wow, he actually used the RP. He didn't cancel it. Dang. And you know what the sad part is? It doesn't even matter because they have Chrono. Oh my god, this is sad life for first departure. Sad life. As I think we're getting to the point there literally might not be anything they can do. They can't gank, they can't team fight, they can't even push, they can't even counter push. This lineup can do one thing, which is gank, and it doesn't do well in 5-man Dota. So first departure, gonna have to go back to the drawing board because this lineup actually doesn't accomplish anything. Actually, I think this lineup would be just a lot better if they got a different carry in their Tron. If they got a very more offensive, less experienced dependent carry. A carry who can get kited around as easily. As this is not a lifesteal lineup. And Ichigo gonna easily clear out these massive amounts of creep waves with a Crystallis in his pocket. Gonna be very close to that Daedalus in about 200 to 300 gold. We'll finish that. Unless he wants to go for something like an Eagle Song, he could do that. If he wants to go for something like a freaking Evilade, he could do that. If he wants to go for Rod of Atos on Void, he could do that. This is going to be blink forward, skewer backward onto the Lifestealer. Rage is in place, but Purge just says lol to that. Void with the Time Walk as he's going to pop out and explode in the blink of an eye. Buyback doesn't matter as what was stolen. Chrono was stolen, but they have no damage. Doesn't matter. Just slow down the Assault TA. Trying to do what she can. They're going to focus a lot of damage onto the Void. Here comes Kunipane. Canceling the Sonic Wave, trying to hit as many people as possible. Nice reverse by a Magnus. Perfectly placed Sonic Wave. And Lifestealer will very well lose his buyback. Skewer backward onto the Visage. Visage being held in place. Void just continuous assault. This is starting to border on... I don't know if I can even upload this to YouTube. It might just be against the terms and conditions, as this is just rated M.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is under
So I imagine this will be GG.
Dire's
There's a 6-for-0 experience goal graph.
is under attack.
Pretty big. Net worth. Lifestealer has almost less than half the net worth of Void. Pretty big. Gold per minute, Void.
Top barracks
Very far ahead. 600. Lifestealer 333.
Radiant's bottom tower.
And I like Lifestealer as a carry. I think he,
Dire's middle tower.
for the most part, is fun to watch. He's annoying to play against because he can rage TP. But, you know, he usually is a quite aggressive carry. But unfortunately in this game,
Tower has fallen.
he can't do too much. And Bounty Hunter, not really the best choice. TA, not the best choice either. Just the whole lineup. When you pick a Visage, you have to be aggressive. But I think they went a bit overboard on the aggressive picks. As 2 racks gonna fall. All we're waiting for now is the GG. Chrono's back up. Daedalus is finished on the Void. Refresher almost finished on the Magnus. Probably gonna be quite a whiles away. Ghost after fish on the call, as well as a mech and a 4-staff Shadow Demon. And TA gonna disconnect. Keep the light. Gonna pause the game, but I'm just gonna fast forward it. Disconnect by the Lifestealer. So I'm gonna fast forward by 2 times speed. GGs are called. As May was a disconnect, and then they realized, oh, no point in playing this out. But very, very anticlimactic end. But yeah, Southeast Asian Dota 2 commentary. And first departure, looking good in Southeast Asian Dota scene. Dota 2 scene. But they have a long way to go, as evidenced in this game. Meanwhile, oh yeah, played pretty much, other than a Lift RP, played very, very solid for the most part. But still, first departure completely outpicked. As the game is going to end, no final score screen. I'll just fast forward by a billion times speed. But yeah, this has been coverage from the Litany League. Again, if you want a different version of this broadcast, check out the esports. Oh man, fast forward actually went too far. Well, yeah. If you want different coverage, check out the esports gaming league for the hilarious Southeast Asian commentary, apparently. But yeah, I'll hopefully bring you more Dota 2 Southeast Asian action very, very soon. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.